Okay, for that floor routine, here's how I would kind of judge it and work through it. So the gymnast starts with a round off with maybe a 10th off, then does a flip-flop, maybe being generous, but another 10th off. They then do a full, probably 2 off on that in the air. The gymnast then does what might be an endo, but they never do that pike position. So this would be like a flip-flop chest roll down. Which is in the book, it's an A, but not an endo, which will be important later. They then go into splits. They then try a press from splits, a B press from splits. Now the gymnast is allowed to go into that full puro from the split, from the press, but then they never hold the handstand at the end of the full puro, so that press becomes gone. So 3 on the miss, and another 3 off among the way, 1 on the full puro. The gymnast then does another round off into a back layout half. They then do a handspring into a pike front. There are 3 there. The gymnast then does a half puro, which is actually in the same box as the full puro, so that's a nothing. They then do a Healy twirl out of the half puro, which I'm just trying to show a routine here that has lots of little mistakes in it. That Healy has to be from a headstand in the book, so that Healy is also not a trick technically. The gymnast then does a front tuck into another front tuck, kind of something we used to be doing, but that second one for no credit. The gymnast then does a round off again into a whip back, into a flip flop, into a tuck back dismount. All this is important. That flip flop is repeated. That round off was a repeat. This round off up here was a repeat. So let's see. They have an A for that round off, an A for that flip flop, a B for that full. That flip flop chest roll is in the book, but it's only an A. Splits are in the book. That's an A. No press, but they did do the full pirouette out of it, so they can get an A for that. The layout half is a B. Handspring is an A. We're seeing it as a routine with way too many parts, I think. Part of the reason I chose this. Shut up, dog. Okay, we then did a pike front. We have a half puro for nothing, a Healy for nothing, a front tuck is an A. We have the round off repeated, that's nothing. We then have a whip, and then we are dismounting with a tuck back here. So now we can count their eight highest skills. So they did have more than 6 tricks, so they earned a 6.0 for having that. Now the element groups, just starting from the beginning here, working backwards, they have the dismount, that's an A. Now that's only worth partial 0.3. They have a back skill for the full. The flip-flop chest roll down, or the flip-flop roll, was an A in element group 1. And then they had the pike front and the tuck front, which are just A's there. Really not, these are actually the same thing even. So they have 1.8 in difficulty, or in element groups. Now lastly, for difficulty, going through their 8 highest tricks and making sure to count the dismount and these element groups, we had 3 B's in there. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A's. So the B's are worth 0.3 each, and the A's are worth 0.1 each. So we got 3 times 0.3 is 0.9 plus 0.5 is 1.4 in difficulty. So now we add the 6 plus the 1.8 plus the 1.4, and the gymnast has a decent start score of 9.2. But I think when you looked at all of my tenths here, it looks like a lot of little mistakes, a couple larger ones, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and we had 25 off at the end of the day. So this routine, which had a decent start score, is brought all the way down to a 6.7 final score. So there's how we can maybe judge an IHSA floor routine.